There will be a cricket match played tomorrow between India and Pakistan as part of the Asia Cup in Dubai. Now, in the Asia Cup, India Pak is obviously the most exciting match. It's played on a Sunday so that everyone is at home and everyone can watch it, and the people who organize these matches can achieve peak viewership. It's also normally a very exciting time because there's a festive sort of mood that builds around, a match between these two arch rivals. People will plan their evenings around how they're going to or where they're going to watch the match. Some people fly out to Dubai to actually watch it. Families gather around their televisions, but not this time. This time, there's a cloud that's hanging over it. A cloud of the Pahalgam terror attack, where India lost 26 innocent lives, and Operation Sindoor that followed, where India lost 21 civilians and 8 military lives. And yet, India and Pakistan will clash tomorrow at the Asia Cup. The question that everyone is asking is, should India be playing Pakistan at all? Now, what I've done in this video is put together all of the arguments. Pro and against India playing Pakistan so that you can actually form your own opinion. And it's a very nuanced, very individualistic opinion that each of us will probably have a different opinion on it. So before I start, remember, like, share, subscribe, and sign up for our membership if you can. Quick background, which I'm sure you have not forgotten. April 22nd this year, it's about 144 days ago, actually. It hasn't been that much time. April 22nd this year, in Pahalgam, militants opened fire on tourists. 26 people were killed. It was terrible. Husbands were shot in front of their wives. Fathers were shot in front of their children. India's response came in May on the 7th, Operation Sindoor, precision strikes. Pakistan responded to those strikes, and for a few days, there was, everyone was holding their breath to see how this would play out. But following that attack, India cut off water flow in the Indus River. Remember the entire statement of blood and water cannot flow together. We suspended a fair amount of trade, although not all of it. We suspended transport links. We halted cultural exchanges. We shut down the embassy in Pakistan. We recalled ambassadors. By all accounts, ties were frozen with that country. And it's not just Pahalgam. Look at it, zoom out slightly. Consider 26/11 that happened in Mumbai, Uri, Pulwama. All of these attacks very clearly came from across the border in Pakistan. And now we're talking about cricket. Now, the reason why we're talking about this match is this is the first match that India and Pakistan will play against each other since Operation Sindoor. And, like I said, apparently in Dubai, 50% of the tickets to the stadium are not sold. And that's something to sort of pay attention to. India had a practice session and very few people actually came in to see it. Let's take a look at the boycott calls, right? All over social media, fans are saying that they will not watch this on television. They will not buy stadium tickets. Aishana Dwivedi, one of the young widows whose husband was killed in Pahalgam, has actually said that BCCI should not have accepted this match. The cricketers call themselves nationalists, but no one has stood by us. Members of the opposition, actors, political commentators have all come forward to say that this is not okay, that India should not be playing this match at all. There was even one case that went to Supreme Court on Friday where the lawyer argued that the court should list it and hear it on Friday. And the court said, what is the urgency? Let the match be. What can we do about it? And the plea was dismissed. So legally, as per our Supreme Court, the match goes on. Let's sort of listen to what the government or the BCCI is saying, because what the opposition has argued is that you said blood and water cannot go together. Now, why is cricket going together with terrorism? What happened to the stance we were taking against Pakistan globally, saying this is a terror state, we will not associate with them? How are we suddenly playing cricket with them? Is it purely only about TRPs and making money? Remember, the BCCI and now the ICC also controlled by people close to the government. So this is what the government's official response is. Former Sports Minister Anurag Thakur, who's currently a member of parliament with the BJP, said, and I quote, when multinational tournaments are being organized by the Asia Cricket Council or the ICC, which is the International Cricket Council, participation is compulsory. If India refuses, we forfeit points, we risk suspension and damage our players' careers. That's why we do not play bilateral matches with Pakistan, but multilateral matches are unavoidable. So effectively, we will not play an India-Pak tournament or an India-Pak match that's standalone. But if it's part of a larger sort of tournament that both countries are part of, we have to play. So T20 World Cup, ODI World Cup, or the Asia Cup, we will meet Pakistan on the field because that is a multilateral. Effectively, that's the stand of the government. The BCCI has said if India boycotts a multi team event, our federation could even face a ban. Young players' careers will be ruined. This is BCCI's secretary, Devajit Shaikia, who has said this. Team India's assistant coach, Sitashu Kotak, has said that we will play, we are here to play, our focus is the cricket. Politics is outside our control. Apparently, there is also a other angle of the Olympics. Now, remember, India has thrown its hat in the ring to host the Olympics in 2036. Some argue that if India boycotts a high profile Asia Cup match, it will send the wrong signal to the International Olympic Committee, which is watching us very closely because IOC wants reliability and professionalism and could hurt India's chances of hosting the Olympics in the future. That could be one argument as well. Pulling out of such matches will hurt India's chances, especially rivals like Indonesia and Turkey are also bidding for the Olympics. There has been, and let's take a look at the history. There's been a history of sporting boycotts also. You'll remember during apartheid, South Africa had been banned from the Olympics from 1964 to 1992. In 1980, because of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, the US led a boycott of the Moscow Olympics. 4 years later, the Soviet Union boycotted the Los Angeles Olympics as well. So history has shown that sports can be used as a weapon of protest. You'll remember nobody played cricket with South Africa for many, many years until after that entire regime had changed. So where does that leave us right now? Are there any arguments for playing cricket? So we know that there is an Olympics bid. We know that our government has taken a stand when there's a multinational tournament that we will play the multinational tournament. But there are other angles to this as well. There's one argument that art and sports are universal languages and they reach ordinary people and they bypass governments, and so they should be kept outside of geopolitics. Now, this is the pro argument. Now, if India and Pakistan play cricket or singers cross borders and perform, it humanizes the other side, it challenges stereotypes, it removes hostility. It'll actually make these groups of people, ordinary people in India and Pakistan, see each other as human beings. There is a soft power of diplomacy. Cultural sporting exchanges are considered track 2, track 3 diplomacy. They are informal channels. They thaw out frozen talks when they are frozen. There's another argument that effectively you're punishing citizens and not states. By cutting off arts and sports, you're not weakening governments, but you're depriving ordinary fans and artists who have livelihoods and who want peace. So cricketers, actors, musicians are not decision makers for terrorism and foreign policy. And a historical precedent of cultural resistance. There has, of course, been cultural resistance, but is this something that we buy into? Remember that the Times of India back in 2010 had launched Aman Ki Asha, which was a hope for peace, an idea where they attempted to, through music and literature and sports and dialogue, actually bring out a conversation of peace. That is one side of the argument. The other side of the argument is where we're standing right now as a country. After 26/11, after Uri, after Pulwama, after Pahalgam, after Operation Sindoor, is there any grey area left? Do we have any hope of Aman Ki Asha unless the cross-border terror stops very clearly? Is this something that we're actually hoping to achieve? There's also an argument that when you do this sort of outreach for sports and arts, it sounds tone deaf to the people who have lost loved ones. So there are citizens who've been killed, people have lost loved ones, and on the other hand, you are either having a music concert or playing a sport. It doesn't make sense. These two parts don't talk to each other. That's one argument. This will actually allow Pakistan to polish its global image while harboring anti-terror groups within its borders. So does it weaken our argument on the global stage that Pakistan is a terror state and no one should associate with Pakistan if we are associating with Pakistan? And all of these sort of goodwill, Aman Ki Asha, all of these things that have been done for so long has achieved very little, because even after all of these things were done, we still had Uri, we still had Pulwama, we still had Pahalgam, we still had 26/11. So If India refuses to play with Pakistan in cricket, in trade, in culture, it strengthens our diplomatic message that this is a terror state, that we will not have a conversation with them, we will not associate with them until the terror stops. By denying Pakistan a match and giving such a high visibility sort of stage to our argument, we will be signaling again to the world what our message about Pakistan is, that it is a sponsor of terror. And there is a consistency that helps then India lobby with global powers as well. It also allows us to limit Pakistan's soft power in India. So this whole idea of visuals that will come saying, oh, Pakistani cricketers are such gentlemen, and they bring in gifts, and they get along so well, and they shake hands on the field, which they should, because it is a gentleman's game and they're sports people. But what this will do is allow a certain softening of the stand towards Pakistan. Will it also then make it more diplomatically difficult for us to make our argument on the global stage? So these are the two pockets of arguments that I bring to you. On one hand, the idea of Aman Ki Asha and the fact that India must play multilateral matches, and on the other hand, the stance that India has taken before the world that Pakistan is a sponsor of terror and we will have no ties with Pakistan whatsoever, and we will not seem tone deaf to the families of those who have lost their loved ones in these terror attacks. Now, I put it before you to tell me what you think India should do. As a citizen of this country, do you believe India should be playing with Pakistan? Or do you believe that actually moving towards the Aman Ki Asha sort of argument, which obviously is the stance that our government is taking, or not, I mean, based on what they have said, where do you stand in this argument? Let me know in the comment section.